Okay guys, welcome back to a brand new video. I hope you guys are all killing this week, having a great end to this week. It's currently Thursday, and yeah, I'm bringing you guys a brand new video. Now, as you can tell by the title, I'm going to be showing you guys how I personally color grade using LUTs. Before we even take the footage into post-production, there are a few things that you need to know. The first one being, guys, please don't leave your camera on auto white balance just because you don't naturally set your white balance properly. On the Sony mirrorless cameras that I shoot on, the Sony a7 III specifically, Sony enables you to set your white balance properly using a white piece of paper or a gray card. Within the profiles, you can click on set. After you've pressed the set button, the camera then takes a picture of the white piece of paper or the gray card that you've put in front of the lens, which it then gives you the correct white balance setting. The second key feat, what's it called? The second thing prior to shooting any footage is you need to shoot in a flat picture profile. Shooting in a flat picture profile gives you much more flexibility compared to a standard profile. It enables you to get the best dynamic range possible, and it allows you to push and pull the colors towards that desired look that you're going for. This is not for beginners. However, if you guys do choose to shoot in log, just make sure that you're exposing at least two stops over, in order to capture all that information in the shadows and highlights and be able to pull it back whilst you're in post-production. If you choose to expose normally while shooting in log, all of your shots will end up grainy and underexposed, and you won't be able to recover any of the information in the highlights and the shadows, so watch out for that. The last thing that I think you guys should take note of is a lot of the cameras are 8-bit sensors that we're using. Unless you have a 10-bit camera and above or a cinema camera, you are going to have to be careful of how far you push the image before it starts breaking. So yeah, just be very gentle with the image, just make small tweaks. You'll notice that the small tweaks make the most difference. If you try and push the image too far, then it just starts to break and crumble. You see the colors breaking. So just be careful and monitor your colors and your exposure using the scopes within your editing programs, and you'll be fine. Let's get straight into this tutorial. Okay, so finally moving into the tutorial. What I'm gonna do first is set my exposure. So I'm gonna move over to the color tab at the top. Okay, so I'm gonna click on the first adjustment layer over the first clip. I go over to the curves tab and I just do a slight S curve, put 3 dots along the lines. So if you don't know what these are, at the top here we have our highlights, in the middle here we have our midtones, and at the bottom we have our shadows. So creating a slight S curve is going to introduce some contrast into the flat image, bringing it back and making it pop. After I've done that, I move into the basic correction tab and I further just tweak the image to get it to where I like. Introduce some contrast here, around 30. Go into window and open the scopes, and this allows you to see if your highlights are blown out or if your shadows are blown out. Right now you can see that I'm within range. What you don't want is for that line over here, as you can see, for the highlights to be close to the 100. That means you're overexposing, you're losing detail, and you don't want your shadows, this bottom line here, hitting the 0. You're also losing data that way too. So what you want to do is adjust the image to your taste, but don't touch those 2 lines, and you'll be allowing yourself to retain data. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to drop my highlights, -10 maybe. The key to this is making small adjustments, and that really makes the difference. You don't want to do huge adjustments like this because that's just going to blow out your image and you're losing data. Just make small adjustments, and having the slider tool that comes in clutch, you can manually change it, adding values in here, for example, allowing you to really dial in and find the look that you're going for. Yeah, so if I toggle on and off a basic correction, you can see the effect. It's slight small effects, but it makes the biggest difference. So I'm going to go onto the creative tab, click on look and go into browse. And with LUTs, you can't just slap any LUT on and expect it to look good. You really have to know which LUT will suit which clip. A LUT is not like a filter adds to your image. It works with everything else that you're doing. Okay, so here I'm actually a big fan of Tropic Color. I'm actually gonna go into the Tropic Color Urban LUTs. I'm gonna go into and select Brooklyn and see how that looks. So that's the first image. I'm gonna show you guys a before and after, and hopefully you guys like it. Okay, moving into the second clip, we're gonna follow the exact same process. However, obviously there'll be minor changes. So here I have this clip of some kayakers. I'm gonna go into curve, sorry, I always say that. And I'm gonna put my 3 points down to make that S curve. We're gonna create that S curve like I was saying earlier. So we're actually gonna drop the shadows to get that contrast. Not too much. We're gonna go into the basic correction tab. I'm gonna further introduce more contrast, so 25. I might actually raise the shadows in this clip, get some of that detail back. I'm constantly looking at these scopes to make sure I'm not clipping the 100 in the highlights and the 0 in the shadows. Push the whites a little bit, get more of that contrast in. Small adjustments make the key differences. Minus 20 is a bit too much, so I don't like to crush them completely. As you can see, it's actually sunset, so I might reintroduce some of those tones with the tints. Pretty good. I'll reiterate that this was actually shot at sunset. We're finally going to move into the creative tab and add our LUT. Actually, I don't mind that. That looks quite cool. Okay guys, so I'm actually going to show you guys a before and after of this clip being graded. This is the end of the video, so I'd really appreciate it if you left a like down below, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell right next to the subscribe button to turn post notifications on so you know exactly when I post, and feel free to leave a comment down below. I really appreciate all the support you guys have shown me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Peace out.